Hello, welcome to another episode of the Money Classroom. I am your host, Keisha Bailey, otherwise known as Keisha the Teacher. Class is in session. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who are new to the Money Classroom, I am Keisha Bailey, your host. I'm a financial strategist and educator with over 18 years of experience in the Jamaican and international financial sectors. I've managed billions of dollars, as they say, on behalf of many clients. And my passion is empowering individuals. And I'm on a mission to help you to turn the money you have into the money you want. Make sure you guys, as you're joining, head over to my website, profitjumpstarter.com/newsletter once our show is over, to make sure that you are subscribed to our mailing list. There's also a free guide when you join the mailing list. It's our side hustle guide because, as we know, in 2022, one income stream is too close to no income streams. So make sure you subscribe to our newsletter to get that free guide on side hustles. All right, so where are you guys joining us from tonight? Let me know in the chat. Where in the world are you representing from tonight? And of course, make sure you're liking our channel, you're telling your friends, family, all of your money crew about Profit Jumpstarter and the Money Classroom. Let me know where you guys are joining from tonight. Hi, Natalie. Welcome, welcome. Hi. All right. So, some of you would have gotten a sneak preview of today's discussion on using credit wisely to build wealth. We had our IG live last Thursday, and you would have gotten a little snippet on what we're going to be discussing tonight. Now, if you want the full details and we're going into the nitty-gritty, make sure you have your money book out and get ready to take notes. Before we jump into tonight's show, let us have our disclaimer. The information provided on this show is for general entertainment and education purposes only. No information, materials, services, and other content provided on this show constitute solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or any financial investment or other advice. Seek independent professional consultation in the form of legal, financial, and investment advice before making any investment decision. All right, so we have Scotty saying, hi, Keisha. Natalie's from Richmond, Virginia. Big up yourself, Natalie. Welcome to the Money Classroom. Christine from Kingston, Jamaica. Romano from Kingston, Jamaica. Keela from Kingston, Jamaica. And Yvonne from St. Andrew. Big up yourself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So tonight we're going to be having Chief Operating Officer at CRIF Information Bureau, Jamaica, which is one of the credit bureaus in Jamaica. His name is Robert Gordon. He's going to be joining us to explain more about understanding and managing credit. We also have our sponsor for the show and tell segment, JMMB Group, and they're going to be talking with us about how to use credit wisely. We know lots is in store with JMMB and their credit operations, so very excited to talk about that tonight. We know that interest rates are rising locally and globally, and inflation is at an all-time high. This is making credit and loans more expensive. Now, more than ever, we have to learn how to use credit wisely to build wealth or to start the debt recovery process. So let's get into our lesson. The lesson is here. Take out your money book, get ready. All right, so we are gonna get started with the lesson on using credit to grow your wealth. Now, for those who know me, as I said, my name is Keisha Bailey. I'm an investment strategist. I have 18 years of experience. I've managed over 100 billion Canadian dollars. I've seen the ups, downs, sideways, midways of the financial markets. And my purpose is to show you how to grow your money, regardless of the environment that you are in. Whatever way, whichever economy, we still can make money. And that's what I'm here teaching you to do. I teach persons specifically to build portfolios that are profitable because I'm all about the money. I want you to achieve wealth faster. So my aim is to teach you to build portfolios that can grow very quickly. So let us start first with what is credit. When we use the word credit, we're talking about borrowed money. Anything that you've borrowed, that is what is credit. Some people also refer to it as debt. That's how we more commonly refer to it. So credit or debt. And depending on certain factors, debt can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. Now, when we talk about using credit to build wealth, if credit is used in a constructive way, it can prove to be a vital tool in building wealth. If you know the right way to use credit, a lot of times people use credit and it destroys your wealth because you are out there taking out the wrong kinds of debt. Now, Albert Einstein said it best. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. So that person is earning interest. And he who doesn't understand pays it. I want us to be on the earning side, not over there on the paying side. The paying side is the side that is struggling with debt, with poverty. We want to be on the money side where we're earning interest and not paying it out on bad debt specifically. So let's talk about good debt first. When we talk about good debt, we want to have this type of debt. With good debt, we're having favorable interest rates. Good debt is used to buy assets that are going to go up in value. Good debt is when you buy assets that also could provide a cash flow to you or passive income. Good debt also occurs when you're consolidating existing loans so that you get better lending terms or education loans because you're investing in yourself. And the thinking behind education loan is that you're investing in education to get a higher paying job that will put you in a stronger financial position. That's the thinking behind that. And now, flip side, bad debt. Bad debt is where you have high interest rates. Bad debt is used to buy liabilities, and liabilities is anything that's not giving you a cash flow. So any expense that you borrow to go in or do a carnival costume, no direct cash flow back to you, that can be bad debt. Bad debt is also you use it for consumption. So you borrow the money, you spend it, there's no return back to you. If you are serious about creating wealth, your debt has to be good debt, not bad debt. Another common type of bad debt a lot of people know about is that unsecured loan with the unfavorable lending terms. Very, very bad debt. So we want to avoid bad debt and focus on getting good debt. Now, what are the ways that we can use credit to build wealth? Just dropping some brief ones before we go into our discussion. But if you're using credit or debt to buy property, or you have credit cards with perks, and we're going to talk about how exactly to use credit cards. If you're using credit to get capital for your business, or for education and self-improvement, or debt consolidation, these are the ways that you can use credit to build wealth. I want you to make sure, take a screenshot of this particular slide and remember it. These are the ways that you can use credit to build wealth. Whatever way you are considering to use credit, if it's not on this list, think twice. If you are on that money journey, it's a Keisha, I'm looking to grow my money up, you should be using credit in one of these ways. Notice here, there's no credit use for consumption, borrowing money to spend and splurge. We don't want to use credit for that because when we do that, we're not building wealth. We're actually destroying wealth. So we don't want to use credit in that way. Now, we're going to get into this more with Mr. Gordon, but your credit score, you want to have a good or a great, a very positive credit score because when your credit score is strong, it increases your chances of getting loans and you're going to be able to get more favorable interest rates. So our aim should be best credit score possible so that we can get favorable lending terms. We can get very good interest rates, because when you borrow at good interest rates or very low interest rates, that's how you build wealth. I'm always telling you guys, why spend mine when I can spend yours? If you are getting money at very favorable rates, this is how you're able to build wealth. Now, for some of us who may say, our credit score not so good, Keisha, what can I do? Just very basic suggestions, because we're going to go into much more, but I'm just prepping you for the discussion. When you're thinking about improving your credit score, you want to be consistent with your payments. You want to make sure you're paying your outstanding bills. You are paying the new bills as well. So don't be paying outstanding bills and the new ones start piling up. We need to be focused on paying all bills. And as much as possible, pay more than just the minimum installment on the bills. Again, another slide for you to screenshot. This is how you can improve your credit score. Be consistent with your payments, pay outstanding bills, pay the incoming bills, the new ones, and pay more than the monthly installment. Make sure you're doing that. So this is my short and sweet lesson for you. Make sure you have taken notes and you are ready now to implement. Again, as always, you know where to find us. We are here to make sure you maximize your money growth. So let us get into our discussion with Mr. Gordon. Hello. Welcome to the Money Classroom, Mr. Gordon. Very happy to have you. Big up yourself.
No problem. Happy to be here.
All right. So, firstly, help us to understand what constitutes bad credit.
Not paying your bills on time. That's in a
not
nutshell.
paying your bills on time.
Right. And bad credit is not service. It's really the correct description of it is not servicing the facilities that you are contractually obligated to do. So those contracts you've signed, there is a date on there that you are supposed to pay by. For a credit card, it's the minimum balance at a certain date during the month. For your mortgage, it's a certain date you pay your mortgage on. Those are the contracts you've entered into. You need to maintain those payments. Then you don't have bad credit.
All right, and so that definitely that's something we need to make sure, because good credit on the flip side is what we want. And what would be a good credit score based on your Bureau standards?
Well, we have our scores. I think it's a 552 is the highest score, and there are tranches associated with that score. So there's from high risk all the way up to a low risk. There's medium risk in between there, but we always say that it's really a lot dependent on the financial institution that you're applying for a loan to, what they deem according to the tranches that we provide them or the scores we provide them, what they deem as their tolerance for risk. Because for someone, an A is required. For some institutions, a C is required in order for them to grant you a facility. Yeah.
So it's really the institution that will say, this is the score that we want.
Right. Yeah.
And so your organization provides credit reports. Help us to understand, what does that credit report entail and how do we keep it in good shape?
All right. So the credit report is we're a repository of information. We hold information that is submitted to us by all financial institutions in Jamaica once per month. So there's a credit cycle that everybody pays their bills within a 30-day period. After that, there is a 5-day period after the end of the month that all of the financial institutions submit their information or upload their information into our database. Yeah. We put that information together on a report along with demographic information, and that is what we deem as a credit report. So it's really a picture of what you do per month and how you service the loan facilities that you have, whether good or bad.
At each point in time, what
Mhm.
are all the loans? What's your history on making sure you're paying those loans?
Correct. So it will define each. We have on there credit, microcredit institutions, the credit unions, and the banks. And you'll there's no actual definition of the name of the bank is not on the credit report. That was something that was requested by the financial institutions, that they're not actually identified on the report, because there are two different reports. There's the report that the bank pulls, which is anonymized, and then there is the consumer report that actually contains the names of the financial institutions. So if you pull your credit report, your own personal report from the bureau, then you see the names of the institutions. On the other side, if they pull a report that you give permission or consent to them to pull, they don't see the names of financial institutions. They just see the last 24 months of history of how that facility was
Okay.
paid. Yeah.
And can I see my own report? How do I access my credit report?
According to the Credit Reporting Act of 2010, every individual over the age of 18 is allowed one free credit report per
Mm.
annum. So we always advocate for persons pulling the report just to make sure that all the banking facilities that they have, that they may have closed and the bank hasn't actually closed it for whatever reason, just to check your report and make sure that everything is as it should be.
All right. And then what types of institutions generally show up? So when I pull my report, am I seeing only banks? Do I also see utility companies, maybe courts, for example, if I have a higher purchase with courts? What are the institutions that I will see?
Right now, we as CRIF, we have an exclusive arrangement with Flow. So all of the flow information is contained in our report. We're currently working with JPS. NWC is about to finalize their data submissions. All of the banks, the credit unions, the microfinance companies, Singer, um,
Singers there. All
other types of industries as well. So what the act stipulates, because it was changed a few years ago, and it says as CIPs or credit information providers are anybody that extends credit, even if it's incidental to their business. So if you're a computer store and I'm selling Keisha Bailey a computer and I'm offering you 3-month credit terms on that, you, as the computer store, are able to submit that information to the
right.
Bureau.
Okay.
Right, right, right. So it's not just credit granting facilities, it's incidental to their business as well. They can supply data.
All right. All right. So we have a question popping up from Domingo. He's asking if I'm guessing incorrect info was on my report. The loan was closed and it was still shown as outstanding. So how do
Mhm.
we rectify errors on the report?
All right. So again, referring to the Act, there is a whole section that deals with the incorrect information on a report, which we call a dispute process. So if you have gone to a financial institution, they've pulled your report and they say that, Mr. Gordon, you have this credit card outstanding and it hasn't been paid for the last 6 months, and you know that you paid it off, you would then come to the Bureau, you would pull your credit report. On that credit report, there's an account number or a unique identifier for that facility. You would say that this facility, I know I paid off. You would tell us, file a dispute with us. We would then begin to act on your behalf with the financial institution, saying that Ms. Bailey says that this facility was paid off. Please confirm, or yes or no. They would write back to us saying, yes, she's correct. Please, CRIF, remove this from Miss Bailey's report. We would issue a free report to you and to the financial institution with the corrections. So it's now removed because it's paid off. Or it can be they say, well, She hasn't paid it off. It should still be there. So she's incorrect. So we then act on your behalf as the intermediary between you and the financial institution, and they would give us directions one way or the other, and we would let you know.
So if I am right and the loan really was closed, how soon will everything be rectified? Is this something?
Immediately. Well,
Oh,
the act gives 14 days, but it never usually takes that long. Usually, once we write to financial institutions, within a few days, they write back to us with a response saying, yes, she's correct, please remove it.
so this is a pretty quick process.
Yeah, it depends on the financial institution. If they have to look into things, and there's maybe, remember, it's not our information. We just collect it. So it's really the bank to make the determination, and then we wait on them. Yeah, and there are humans involved, so sometimes something may be lost in translation, and they haven't got back to us as quickly as we would expect. But it's not usually more than a few days.
All right. Okay. So Domingo is liking that. Thank you for that info. I guess he's gonna be following up to get that rectified. So,
Okay,
so
and
understandably,
everything is online. Everything is
oh,
online.
so how would
Yeah,
he go about getting that set up? He or she, would they file the
he's
request online?
Yes, there's the forms to fill out online. So you fill out the application to, first of all, get your free credit report. We send that back to you via an email. You read through the report, identify the facility that you have a dispute on, fill out the dispute notification, send that, email that to us, and then we act on your behalf. So everything's online.
Perfect. All right. So understandably, times are hard and they're getting even harder because interest rates going higher, resulting in loan payments going higher because of that. So how exactly will that impact person's ability to repay? And what if they have a challenge repaying loans? What does that do to the credit report?
What we always say to persons who have that kind of question is that don't hide from the payments, don't hide from it
Yeah,
and think that it's going to go away. Contact the bank, make an arrangement. That arrangement would then be reflected in the facility that's appearing on the credit report. It can be, what they will flag is that it's a rearranged facility. Maybe the payments were 100 and now the payments are $50,000. The length of the term of the loan is now extended. That's what reflects then on the credit report, and it's flagged as a rearranged facility. It's neither it doesn't go against your report. It's just a change in the contractual obligations that you've signed to.
nice. All right, and we have a question coming up from Tanisha. She's asking for the annual report. Does that provide the score on it, the free report that they get?
No, no bureau will supply you with their score. We'll supply you with the information. If
Uh,
you do want a score, then there is a fee for the score.
and what is that fee?
$1,250.
Okay, so 1250 for the score, Tanisha, if you need that. But I think as you go through, most importantly would be to make sure the line items included in the report
Correct.
are
It's
correct.
right. It's the history you're really looking at. The score is not going to make much of a difference for you. It's to make sure that the information on this correct, because you can't change the score. I can't change the score. It's an algorithm that collates that. So it's really the bank is the one that's concerned about the score. But if you
Right.
want to
And
know, you can
different
pay for that. Yeah.
and different banks have different ranges that they lend to based on the
Yeah.
score.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. And we're getting some feedback. The 1250 is expensive. That's $1,250.
Jamaican dollars.
Jamaican dollars, yes. That's the cost for the report if you want to
Yeah.
see the score. But remember, it is the line item. It really is the history because different institutions lend based on different scores. Different institutions have different internal processes that relate to credit. We have JMMB to talk to us about their process, for example.
Hmm.
So it really is the line items that you want to focus on to make sure that they're accurate.
Correct.
All right, so credit cards, the big bad credit cards, we talk about them all the time. They're near and dear to our heart, but also they can be a problem. But credit cards are not all bad. You have to be prudent with them. So, what would be your advice to persons on managing their credit card, and what are the implications if you don't manage the credit card?
The implications are significant, because, as I described the last time, is that there are mortgage facilities and car loans, etc., that are non-voluntary payments. So you don't have to make the effort to go and pay them. You're responsible for them, but it comes directly out of your salary. Whereas unsecured facilities like credit cards are your responsibility to go in and or online, pay those things per month. You need to remember, you need to make the
Yes.
minimum payment. Those are your responsibility. So that's quite heavily weighted on a credit report. Um,
It carries a
my
heavy weight, you're saying, on the report.
Yes, because it's an unsecured facility. It's an unsecured facility.
I think we need to make sure we point that out to everyone inside the money classroom. The credit cards carry a very heavy weight. And so if I'm carrying a very high balance month to month that I'm not even making the minimum payment, what can that do to my credit score?
You see, it's not really about the balance that you're carrying, because my balance may be $1 million and yours may be $50,000,
Right.
but my salary is commensurate with the amount that I'm
The
paying
level.
per month.
Yes.
It's just about the two of us, whatever your balance is, making sure that you make that minimum payment on time, or whatever it is else that you're paying, whether you're paying more or whatever it is, just to make sure that you pay it on time and in full.
So for those persons who may be saying, time's hard, it's challenging, I can't make the full payment, what can they do to still maintain a decent score or a decent credit report?
That's something, you see, we can't we that's determined by the bank. If you can't make the minimum payment, the institution that is reporting that to us is where you need to go. You need to go into them, make an arrangement, whether consolidating your credit cards, whether or not
Mhm.
you can't meet the obligations. So, can they make an arrangement? Maybe they can do a loan for you. Maybe they can change the type of monthly payment that you make. Make contact with your bank before you start to miss payments or pay less than the minimum balance. Contact your facility provider.
I think that's very useful information because many people don't know that you can go into the bank and have a discussion with your banker about possibly renegotiating the terms of the credit card. We don't have to stick with the credit card and say, this is it. I just have to struggle and make the payment, or I'm just going to leave it alone. Believe it or not, some people hide the credit card. Some people, when the bill comes, they throw it away because they don't want to see it. But it is only when you confront your actual position. You have to know your money, as I say. You have to know your money to grow your money. Confront it, go in and have that discussion with your banker. Kevin is saying the credit card messed him up already, but he's getting better now. So that's good, a good step in the right direction, Kevin, for sure. So the microfinancing sector, as of August of this year, they're going to be, well, tomorrow,
Mhm.
they're going to start capturing, providing their information to the local credit bureau. What is the implication for individuals?
Well, they were already reporting to us, some of them, but now there were microfinance companies that you could go to that were not regulated as such, and they weren't reporting because it wasn't mandatory for them to do so or to be a
Right.
licensed financial institution. Now that they fall under the BOJ and they are required to have a license and required to report to the BOJ, they will now, as a licensed institution, report to the bureau because they can't conduct business unless they have a license to do so.
Okay. So, how does that impact persons who have loans with these institutions?
Mhm. Um, well, you see, because I'm not part of the microfinance actual business, those facility, if they're going to continue as a microfinance company, you need to regularize your payments with them, because they will be supplying that information to us if they weren't doing so already. So for
Right.
you, get your house in order before they start reporting to the bureau.
Well, get your house in order by morning because if you have loans with any of these institutions, because the microfinance institutions traditionally were, small, they were new, up and coming, more, I guess, convenient lending terms.
Mhm.
So those persons who may have facilities with a microfinance company, make sure you get them in order ASAP. As always, you can go and renegotiate the terms of any credit facility. It is on you. It is your responsibility. If you need to do that, go and do that for sure by a morning because it's gonna be reported. So we have
Yes.
a question. We have a question coming in. Will the reports be retrospective or is it going forward?
Um, Retrospective, because
Wow.
all financial institutions, if they can, the the act states that we can have information on the report for 7 years. So we can go back 7 years from today.
7 years, right.
Yes.
So then, as I'm thinking, I have to look back 7 years of history. If I were with a microfinance company or utility company or Flow or the bank, 7 years of history is there. And
Mhm.
that goes into determining the credit score, which goes into determining the interest rate you'll get on a facility if you get it. And so we have to be very proactive with our credit information. It is ours, it's our responsibility. We know that CRIF provides credit reports, but are there any other services that your bureau provides that persons could use?
Yeah, well, our value-added services, as we term them, are not really geared towards the consumer. Our value-added services are really to financial institutions. There are a number of different types of value-added services that we provide. So analytics of the data. There are tracking services, so
Okay,
we can monitor your portfolio for you. Persons that you are looking for that you can't find, if they pop up and apply for a facility somewhere else, you'll be alerted. You can find them, because 90% of collections is locating the individual. The bureau provides those kinds of back end options to our customers to
ah,
sign up for. And there are a number of facilities. We do remote selling, so we can provide remote selling facilities where the consumer no longer needs to come into the bank to open a account or apply for a loan. So you
right,
can go online, use your face, use your document. We provide biometrics to make sure the document matches the face selfie. We can check with TAJ to make sure that TRN is valid. All of those kinds of things we provide to the financial institutions.
very nice, very nice. So I like the analytics and this, you're providing support to find the person. That is good to know. That is good to know for everyone here. So, what is the main thing as we're wrapping up? What is the main thing that you would say everyone inside the money classroom today needs to walk away with? What's that lesson from you around managing credit wisely?
Credit is good and bad. The good is that your your good credit history acts as an asset. You can use that to negotiate on interest rates, to negotiate on fees. You're an A customer. I, as the bank, want to keep you as my A customer. I don't want you to open a facility with anywhere else. So let's come in and negotiate with me because you have a great credit score. Bad, you need to start acting up, standing up, or maintaining and be responsible for the facilities that you have, because there's no institution now, recognized financial institution, that you can do business with without accessing a credit report. So if you have
Sure.
bad credit, they're not going to offer you a facility.
So I get your house in order. You need
Right.
that because credit is needed for wealth creation. Why spend mine when I can spend yours? Using credit is one of the most efficient and effective ways to build wealth quickly. Remember that slide I showed you guys. So you have to make sure though that you are worthy of credit, that you are attractive to the lending institutions. And so peruse that credit report. Could you share again, Mr. Gordon, where can persons get access to that free credit report that lists all of the transaction history?
Just go to the criff.com, www.criff.com website, and there's red lettering as you enter, and it says click on here to get your free credit report. It brings up the form, you fill that in, get it signed, and send that off to us, and you get a copy of your report.
Perfect. And we have a question for you from TTA Jamaica. They're saying, I've not seen any educational material around credit scores. Where can we get more info around credit scores?
You can go to our website. There's a wealth of information there. You can just click on for credit scores, wealth of information there. The BOJ website holds a lot of information as well on the Credit Reporting Act, how the credit scores work, etc. There's a wealth of information out there if you just have a look for it, because it's remember, we are a fledgling credit bureau country. We're just 10 years, whereas where I'm coming from, it's been there for nearly 60 years. So there's a lot of information surrounding it.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Gordon, for being with us inside the Money Classroom today. Thank you for imparting your gems, your wisdom around using credit to build wealth. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. So we are gearing up for show and tell, and JMMB is with us inside the Money Classroom. It's now time for show and tell. All right, so tonight with me inside show and tell, I have Owen Ferguson from the JMMB group. Owen is a branch manager, right? If I have it right. Welcome to the Money Classroom, Owen. Big up yourself. Glad to have you here.
Hi, Keisha. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Owen, we are now talking around the implementation. Mr. Gordon gave us a lot of useful insights on credit, how it works, what's on the credit report, how is the credit score determined, and things that we need to look for. When we go now to implement on that knowledge, this is where the support of the JMMB group comes in. Yep. So my first question to you would be, how does a client's credit score affect their ability to access financing from JMMB?
Oh, excellent question. So we're in the business of making loans and assisting our clients to advance themselves. Now, what we want to do with each of these loans is to enhance this individual. And yes, therefore, we're looking to match a solution to their particular circumstances. So if this is someone who is fairly young and starting out, then their credit history will be fairly short. And so as much as we would apply a full weighting to that report, we look at other factors. So if you're very young, it won't impact you as heavily as it will impact someone who has a much longer credit history. And therefore, I'm saying the reliance on the credit report will vary depending on each particular client and their circumstance.
So how do persons maintain a good score? What do you look for in determining that a client has a good score versus a bad score?
It's really simple. Just ensure that you maintain your payments. Now, we recognize that various things can happen along the way. We've just come out of a pandemic. A number of people had a real tough time, lost jobs, that sort of thing. But as far as possible, ensure that you maintain your payments each month and maintain your communication as well with the bank. If anything goes wrong, reach out. We want to hear from you. We want to understand what's happening in your world. And it makes a difference if we're hearing from you rather than if your facility goes bad and we simply are not able to make contact. So regardless of what happens, maintain your payments as best as possible. And we have a tip for you in respect of that. I can share that in a little bit. And also maintain the lines of communication. Every now and again, make a phone call to your officer or an email or something to that effect. Just ensure that you're in contact.
And I think that's very important, because for a lot of persons, when you see that loan and you know you can't pay, we just avoid it. So all of a sudden you can't answer the phone if JMMB calling, you're dodging, but it is better to have that discussion, because more times than not,
Absolutely.
the bank will be able to assist you. You actually are in a worse position when you are dodging the bank.
Correct. And because we're in a credit bureau environment, Jamaica is, this never goes away. It stays on your record for 7 years at least. So you may have a temporary situation. Don't let it cause you permanent consequences.
Love that one, because persons you're in the here and now, and the times are hard, it's challenging. You are overwhelmed, so you say, no, I'm not looking at this, I just going to put it away. It's better to have a discussion with the bank, let the bank help you to restructure the loan, salvage the credit score, so that in the future you can continue to borrow, versus hiding. Credit score takes a hit, no more loans for you.
That's right. It's very real. For every consumer loan that we consider, we're going to pull a credit report. And
all loans require a report.
All our consumer loans, meaning all of your personal mortgages, your car loans, your unsecured loans, all your personal loans, we're going to pull a report. And so everything you would have done with financial institutions over the last 7 years at least, we would be able to see. And therefore, we really encourage you, whatever the circumstances, try to make your payments and try to make keep the communication going with your banking rep.
For sure. Then make sure we know that. And what are some of the key debt management principles? Say, I'm already here, I'm struggling, times are hard. What are some key principles that we can follow?
All right. So one of the things that we recommend, especially for someone who is young and has their whole life ahead of them, in order to help you to maintain your payments on time, we recommend that you automate your payments. So if your employer facilitates it, ensure that you do a salary deduction. So it comes out of your pay before it gets to you and you're tempted to spend it. Yeah. So we want to automate your payment. If it is possible to run it through your bank as well, let's say you're not able to get salary deduction from your employer, set those up as automated standing orders. We are able to automate that now. And wherever you can automate your payments, it's always going to come to your advantage, because it means that you don't have to think about it. It's just going to go through without you having to remember it. Oh my, I forgot to pay my loan today. You really want to make that as painless as possible, because we know what the implications are, we know what the consequences are. So first of all, automate your payments as best you can. And I'm not going to overlook the point I made earlier. When you come in for a loan and you're granted your car loan and you drive off in your fancy new car, let that not be the one time we hear from you. Keep your communication with your rep. You've changed your job. It's a better job, you're earning more. Still let us hear from you periodically, so that if the circumstances go against you later on, we're able to say, yes, we know this about Keisha. She maintains her payments, she's pretty consistent, and that can work in your favor if we're to talk about refinancing or any other arrangements that could get you through a tough time. So keep the lines of communication going. If you run into real trouble, we also recommend that you look at the possibility of consolidating your debts. So you may have...
What does that mean? What does
I'm getting into that. Great question. So that fancy word, consolidate, just means putting all your debt into one single payment. It's a lot more manageable in most cases, and it allows you a little breathing room. Some of the institutions that you may have taken loans from, some of those may have been going bad. And what you want to do is approach JMMB Bank and talk about a refinance, a consolidation, which will allow you to put together a number of these other facilities and make a single payment each month. Very often it also brings down your interest cost. Some of these loans that you may have taken, credit cards, other unsecured debt, may have been at very high rates.
Yeah.
If you're able to take a debt consolidation loan from a JMMB bank, for instance, you very often are going to come out with a much lower rate and therefore much more manageable repayment per month. And so we're talking about refinancing and consolidation as another tip to help you manage your finances. And also, we also want to ask that persons maintain their accounts by following up. Ensure that you request a statement periodically, at least once a year. Try to get a loan statement from your institution. Ensure that your payments are being applied as you make them, and you ensure that the changes that may occur, you are keeping track of those. So you have a responsibility as well. Yes, the bank is to make your payments and apply your payments, but you have a responsibility to ensure that, in fact, your account is being managed appropriately and your payments are being applied correctly in the way that you want. And then, perhaps the most
lots of tips, Owen. Lots of tips for persons.
I'm going to give you one that's going to blow your mind, and
blow it
going to love it. So, as challenging as times are, if you can make a lump sum payment on your loan, this is going to make your life so much easier. So whenever you can, let's say you happen to have a lump sum, if you accumulate funds, some rich uncle died and left you some money, rather than spending it off on Dream Weekend, go ahead and make a lump sum payment to the principal balance on your loan. Believe me, it will make a huge difference. It will reduce your interest cost. It will make your payments more manageable going forward. And in some cases, it will reduce your time to repay. So that is really very powerful. Let me give you a quick example, Keisha, if you have the time.
Yes.
If you had taken a 30-year mortgage, you're a young person, you bought your home, you're feeling happy and proud of yourself. You've taken this 30-year mortgage. Let's say it's $10 million. If you're able at some point to do a lump sum payment of $1 million, let's just say, you got a bonus or, something else happened in your favor, you're able to reduce your principal by $1 million. Your payments on that loan for interest, remember now you took a $10 million mortgage, that payment will fall from roughly $75,000 per month to under $70,000 to $63,000 per month. And more importantly, you would have saved, over the course of the loan, you would have saved $2.3 million in interest just from making that $1 million payment. So you see the power of a lump sum payment. And of course, I've put some numbers out there. It may not be the particular numbers that are
right.
occurring in your
what if I can't find the 1 million? What's a good amount?
No, whatever it is. I'm just putting that number out there because it makes the calculation easy. But even if it's an additional $5,000 per month, just ask for that additional $5,000 to be applied to your principal. And you will recognize that it saves you in the long run. But please look out for those opportunities to do your lump sum payments and also look for opportunities to top up your monthly payment.
So one of the things now, we know interest rates are going up. We see the Bank of Jamaica announcing that several times. And we see other banks now, the commercial banks like JMMB Bank, stepping in with their announcement as well. What are some of the ways that JMMB is helping clients during this time of higher interest rates?
All right, great. So we're doing a number of things, Keisha. The first of which is we consider our clients partners, and so we're reaching out to them in a timely way to say, this is our reality, and this is where we are as far as interest rates, and we would like to have a conversation around how you will manage your loan payments going forward. So whereas the circumstances require us to give you a new repayment amount, clients always have the option to have a conversation with their rep to say, this is my particular circumstance, how can you help me? And we are able in very many cases to refinance that facility at no penalty to you. It doesn't impact your credit history, it doesn't impact your reputation as a borrower. It's really just a facility that we provide that allows you to maintain a manageable payment, even in times of increasing interest rates.
That is good. So then instead of having my mortgage go up because light bill gone up already, water bill gone up, gas, I don't know what my mortgage to go up. So you're saying I can call JMMB if my mortgage is with JMMB to have a discussion about getting a manageable amount to pay.
Absolutely. It's funny we're having a conversation this weekend because we're actually in that process at JMMB now, communicating with our clients around that very thing to say, here is our new reality, let's have the conversation. So that's happening this moment as we speak.
Well, very good then. And how can persons reach you? Because I know that question is coming. How do I reach you to talk about my mortgage? Because I want to maintain a good monthly payment. Everything else gone up for me. What can I do with JMMB? How do I reach you?
Oh, there are multiple channels for reaching us. So of course, we're on social media through all of the platforms that you're happy and comfortable with. You can also reach out by email, info@jmmb.com. Or if you wish to have a conversation and you're local, being in Jamaica, you're 998-5662. So that's 876-998-JMMB. And you'll be put through to our client care team, and they'll be able to handle that conversation. If it needs to be escalated further, we will do so, and we'll be able to take you through the process of managing your new payments.
And be sure, guys, to mention that you came from Profit Jumpstarter, because there's very special treatment for the Profit Jumpstarter community. Make sure in your email say, I saw Owen speak on the Money Classroom. He told me to send an email because JMMB is providing XYZ. Make sure you mention that it's very specific that you mention you're coming from Profit Jumpstarter, because we sort out our people for sure. So emergencies happen, sickness, unplanned expenses, back to school coming up soon. How can persons manage debt? Because we can easily get into debt because we have book lists, we have uniform, tuition, all due around the same time. And the credit card, the poor credit card is just going to keep swiping. How do we manage debt? And if we do end up going into debt because of this period here, what can we do to recover?
Okay, great question. So because we're having a live and engaging interaction with our bank rep, yes.
Also, because all right, we're regularly communicating.
It's part of the dialogue that I've recommended that you maintain, because you're not simply avoiding us. We'd have a good idea of what your circumstances are. And, once we are able to have that conversation, be guided by what your new reality is, usually there are going to be a couple of solutions that are going to be available. Most times we'll be able to adjust your repayment tenor, the period over which you're making your payments, and that will usually bring your payment back in line with what you previously had. In some extreme cases, persons are not able to make a payment at all. I recognize that happens, job loss, etc. We can also look into providing you with a payment holiday, which may give you some room for a month, 2 months, as the case may be, and allow you some time to get back on your feet. In fact, if you are taking a mortgage, shameless plug, from JMMB, we are currently offering you 2 months holiday with that new mortgage. And so For 2 months, you will not be required to make a payment. You can take that money to furnish your new home and whatever else you need to do. So it will take you through this challenging back to school period. It will take you all the way down into later in the year when things are a little more favorable for you. So those are some ways, but it's really important, Keisha, that we keep the communication going so that we know what's happening in your world.
And so, say I'm really interested, ready to get my financing going, and I want to access credit from JMMB. I want to borrow money for back to school or for any form of building wealth, because going back to school is an investment. Remember, we spoke about that. How do persons access financing from JMMB?
Really easy. So we gave some contact information earlier. So you're going to reach out through one of those channels, and it becomes a whole lot simpler than many people think. If all you need to do is to access finance for back to school expenses or any other personal expense, we already have off-the-shelf solutions that we can roll out for you on, I was almost going to say tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, we'll be able to roll out
a
financing solution for you, and fairly quick turnaround time. We do need to take some time to do a careful analysis of your particular proposal, but we tend to be a lot quicker than many people expect. So we are able to respond. We're already in August, and we recognize September just around the corner. So we're able to move pretty quickly to provide you the solution that will allow you to finance the books and the uniforms and all the other expenses that are associated with this time of year. Sure, we can do it.
We're gonna send the email where, if we're interested on accessing credit, where we're sending it again, so just so everyone knows.
Let's go one more time. So it's info at jmmb.com.
Perfect.
Info at jmmb.com. And for calls, it's 998-5662. Of course, you put 876 before that. That's 998 JMMB. We'll reach through to our team and we'll be ready to assist.
And make sure you mention you're coming from Profit Jumpstarter community. Please make sure you extend a special treatment to my crew, because we take care of our crew here. We're using credit to build wealth. Thank you so much, Owen, for being with us inside the Money Classroom.
My pleasure.
All right, guys. So we had our discussion. We spoke about credit. We spoke about how to improve your credit score. We've spoken about ways that you can recover from debt if you are in debt, ways that you can automate your discipline, automate your monthly payments, because that is one of the important factors in maintaining a good credit score so that you can get loans at very favorable or attractive rates. We want to be about wealth creation, and using credit is one of the most efficient ways to build wealth. Make sure you are subscribing to our channel. Make sure you like up the video so that we can tell YouTube to show this information to as many persons as possible. Reach out to JMMB with all your questions about debt, and make sure you are implementing what we have taught you inside the Money Classroom today. If you want to learn more about wealth creation as well, don't forget to check out my Money Blueprint course. It's available at profitjumpstarter.com/money blueprint. Make sure you look at that as well if you want to up your wealth creation game and you say, I'm ready to take my wealth creation to the next level. The Money Blueprint course is for you, because inside that course, you have every single piece of information you need to be a successful and wealthy investor. We talk about debt, we talk about mindset, we talk about investing. All of that is there. Okay, like up the video. Christine is saying only 8 likes. Make sure you guys are liking the video so that we can tell YouTube to show it to as many persons as possible. So until next time, see you back inside the Money Classroom. Knowledge is nothing without execution. Make sure you're implementing what you have learned today. This is an important step in your wealth creation journey. I want you guys to take it. So until our next episode, I'll see you again. Bye.